Okay, we are going to get started with today's NAU Country Connection webinar. Today's topic is claim submission, notifications, and tracking. I am one of your co-hosts today. I am Ali Skelski, and I am a specialist on the IT marketing and training team. And I'm also joined on the line by Scott, and I am going to go ahead and have him introduce himself quickly. Scott.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Norrish. I'm the claims processing manager. I'm actually located in our Great Lakes branch in the Eau Claire office. I get to work with a number of our different offices across the country. So I'll be around here to hopefully help with any claims questions or anything else that comes up as we go through this. So thanks, Ellie.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate you being here. And we also are joined behind the scenes on the call by Hope Floberg. She is my manager and is joining us today to also help with tech questions or system specific questions. So you might see her chatting back to you. If you have questions along the way, or maybe also chiming in, you might hear her voice on occasion as well. So I want to thank her for being here too. All right, so today's agenda, what specifically are we going to talk about in terms of claims information? So first and foremost, I am going to show everyone how you can submit a notice of loss, and we're going to go through that process in EASYwriter Pro, inside the agent portal, as well as in NAU Country Mobile. Now, for the first example, which I'm going to get to here in just a moment, in EASYwriter Pro, I'm actually going to be walking through or showing you how to submit a self-certification replant example, and then Scott's actually going to speak to some of those behind the scenes finer details about that type of a claim, just because it's an interesting one. And we certainly do like to get more information out about that type of claim. But we'll be submitting other types of claims today as well, including one that involves a companion policy. So I'm going to show you that, how easy and quick submitting a claim for a companion policy actually is as well. So if that is something that you utilize in our system, or if you don't, I'd like to show you just how slick it is, the process to actually working with companion policies in terms of submitting notices of loss. All right, after that, we're going to talk about claim mobile notifications and some great information if you elect to sign yourself up for those that you can get on your mobile devices. Then from there, we'll talk about claims tracking and how you can do that in our systems. A little shout out about direct deposit, as well as a little overview of some loss estimator tools we have available, and a couple of reports I'd like to highlight, and then also some additional resources and training materials that, again, we will be sending out to you in our recap email. All right, so the first thing I'm actually going to do is I am going to get out of my PowerPoint presentation into EASYwriter Pro. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is how can you submit a notice of loss here in EASYwriter Pro. And there's a couple of ways you can start that process. If you've just logged into EASYwriter Pro like I have, you're on the home page or you're looking at the dashboard, and you know you need to submit an NOL, you can come on up here to, now this is within the claims quadrant, and there is a orange flag. If I hover over that, you can see add MPCI loss. So I could literally just click on this and it would go ahead and allow me to just start an MPCI loss or NOL, or there's a little arrow. If I click on that next to the flag, this will also allow me to add a hail loss. So those are some kind of quick access options for you. You also can certainly just go up to the top of the screen under claims, and then you have the option here under MPCI to submit a notice of loss. You also can go under the hail menu option to also submit a notice of loss, or this is where you can go to submit a named peril notice of loss. So lots of options there. I'm going to just start here under MPCI and click notice of loss. This is going to bring me up a search window for me to basically search for the policy I need to submit the claim for. So I'm going to go ahead and type in my policy number. And it pulls up in my search. This is exactly the policy I need. I'm going to double click on it. And that's going to bring up the MPCI notice of loss screen. So from here, I basically need to work through this screen top to bottom, as well as a little bit of left to right. But I'll be chatting through that as we go along here. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that inside of this view, there is a tooltip that you can click on to actually get further information. Now, you'll see it right here. it says click to display help. Now it's right next to our notice type drop down. And in the notice types, you of course have the types of notices or notices of loss that you can submit. Now, if you or one of your farmers is ever wondering, what these mean, what type of a loss, maybe they need to communicate to you, or how you want to submit that, you can click here in the system and always get more information. Now, yes, this is a lengthy tooltip, but I in particular really like this one because not only does it explain the notice types, but it also gives examples in here. So if you're ever wondering some of the finer details, they are listed here. Now we are actually going to be going over the self-certification replant option here, and that is going to actually be the notice type that I select today. And I'm going to go ahead and just pause here, and I'm going to kick things over to Scott, and he's going to talk a little bit more about what this type of claim is all about, the benefits of it, and just sort of the behind the scenes sort of processes there. So Scott, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Allie. So yeah, just a quick overview on the self-cert replant claim for any of you that maybe aren't familiar with it or haven't used it before. As you notice in that information box there that Allie showed, it does list the crops that are available uh, uh, that are authorized crops that self-cert can be used for. So there's a list of crops there, and then the self-cert can be used as long as the replant is less than 100 acres per unit. Then we can possibly work to claim as a self-cert. So, but once that self-cert notice of loss gets turned in, our field managers or adjusters are going to call the policyholder and give them authorization to replant. They're going to go through and ask some of the questions and just kind of verify the information that it will qualify for a replant, that we are dealing with less than 100 acres by the unit, and that it isn't one of the authorized crops. And then they'll give the policyholders kind of a quick overview of what to expect, because we actually will mail out self-cert paperwork for the insured to fill out there. So they'll kind of walk them through that process, and then give them some of the reminders that we will need seed receipts and that information mailed back in to process the claim. So obviously on the self-cert claims, once our adjuster is given the insured authorization to replant, they can go ahead and replant. You don't have to wait for an adjuster to come out and do an inspection. So that saves us time, and allows the insured to get out there and replant right away. Obviously, pretty much everybody knows once replanting and they decide they need to replant, they want to get back out there and get replanted as soon as possible. So those are some of the advantages there. And then just once the insured has filled out that paperwork and sent everything back, they'll either send it back to the adjuster or send it back into the branch office to review, and that paperwork will be reviewed just to make sure that all the documentation is there and it's filled out properly. And then once the acreage report has actually been processed and now that information has been entered into EasyWriter Pro, then the claim will be processed for payment. So just a reminder, I guess, on self-cert or any replant claims, the acreage report does need to be processed prior to any payment going out, so that needs to be finalized and completed. And then on claims, it is possible if a replant claim was just turned in as a regular replant, that once our adjuster has visit with the insured and made that contact, it is possible that through the investigation or talking through that process, that maybe we will change it to a self-cert in the system. If you do happen to see that type is changed as a self-cert in the system, then that would be how we're handling it. And it is also possible the claim could go the other way if it was turned into a self-cert, but in talking with them, it's not going to qualify as a self-cert over 100 acres or to replant some of the other crops. Then we'll go back and actually change that loss type to a regular replant claim in the system and work it that way we'll go out in the field and do our appraisals to make sure it qualifies. So with that, I guess if there's any other self-cert questions that come up and that you guys can think of, go ahead and put them in the chat and I can respond there. But just want to give you just kind of a quick overview of how that process works from the field perspective.
All right, great. Thanks so much, Scott, for speaking to that. I know it oftentimes people will wonder, like, I submit this, now what happens? It seems pretty seamless. So it's really nice to know the behind the scenes steps. And just a heads up that next year sometime, can't give an exact date, but through the mobile app, the self-cert process and some of those steps Scott was talking about that are a little bit more manual in terms of, getting reached out to and submitting paperwork, will be able to do a little bit more in the system, less manual in the mobile device in the future. But again, those details are still being hashed out, and a release date is still forthcoming for that, but something to look forward to a little bit in the future. But I'm going to continue to, first step, you got to get the NOL submitted. So if you are thinking, self or replant, and it will qualify as a self-certified replant, I'm going to choose that as my notice type. So I've selected that. Next thing you do need to do is these are the two coverages on the policy. I need to go ahead and submit or select what coverage. If it's all of them, I can select this checkbox at the top. If not, I can just select individually the coverages that were affected that I'm submitting the loss for. And then working the line of that coverage left to right, I do need to choose the cause. So you literally just click into that column and a drop-down menu is going to appear. There is lots of causes, of course, that you can select from. The ones that are oftentimes selected do tend to be towards a little bit more towards the top. And I am going to go ahead and choose cold, wet weather as my cause. And then for my intention, this is very important with replant notifications, and of course a self-cert replant notification. Under intention here, and of course, there's several options. Way down at the bottom is the replant intention. So that goes hand in hand with this type of notice of loss. So I'm going to be sure that I absolutely select it here for this example. And then I do need to select my date of damage. Let's just say it was yesterday. And then for this particular type of notice, I don't need to select the harvested checkbox, the harvested date, or anything else within this line. Once you're done at sort of the upper part of the screen, work yourself down here. Now for this particular claim type, again, a self-certified replant option, under submission details, you'll notice this question will pop up and it reads, if the insured's intends to replant and a replanting payment is applicable, is the acreage greater than 100 acres of the unit? And as Scott mentioned, it's very important to qualify for this type of a notice of loss or claim. It needs to be under 100 acres in order to process it as a self-cert. So you'll notice over here the answer to this says no. It defaults to no, and that's good. And I'm going to leave that as no because that is the case for my NOL today. So it is no. It is not greater than 100 acres. So no. And then below here under best contact, it's going to default into the policyholder's name. I could go ahead and type in a different name here. I could actually delete this out and I could type in a different name if I wanted to. And I could also add a different phone number. Now in the drop down here, it just so happens on this policy, there is a cell phone number for the policyholder. So maybe I want to switch it over to that. And then you also can add, by clicking this check or this plus sign, you can add another phone number. So if you notice a phone number is missing from the system, you want to add it quick, you can go ahead and add that here. And then you can also choose to update the policy's main phone number as the phone number that you select here. So a lot of cool little things that you can do here admin-wise as you're submitting a notice of loss. And then last but not least, submission details. I need to choose the date that I received the information of this claim. So let's just leave it as today. And then how did I receive the information? Let's say that I received it over the telephone. Now, time received is going to default to AM. I could switch it to PM, of course. And then any remarks you want to add in here, anything that would be helpful, with the claim details submitted, you can go ahead and put that in, and that will also be submitted into the system. When you're done, you just go ahead and hit save. And now I've got a couple of options. First of all, I could choose to just print my notice of loss right away. I also could choose to create another loss on the same policy, or you will notice I have this third option. It says Open Companion Related Policy Viewer. Now this is happening in this example, and I did specifically choose this policy because it did have a related or hooked up companion policy. Now this is not something that everyone does or everyone has, but if you do have companion policies, and you have connected them in our system, this is one benefit of doing that, because let's say that my companion policy was also affected by this loss. To submit a notice of loss for that policy, I can just click this button, and here it's going to pop up my companion policy or policies, and I can go ahead and choose the policy that I now need to submit another NOL for. Now my screen pops up and it pre-fills with all the details I just submitted for the last policy. So it's a real time saver. The one thing, of course, I can change any details I need to change, but the one thing I need to do if I really don't need to change anything is select the coverages that were affected. Again, double check the details. Everything else that pre-fills look good. Type in any specific remarks for this policy, and then I hit save again. And now again, I get the option to print this notice of loss if I want to. There is other places in the system where you can print the NOL later, and I'll be showing you along the way where you can find those. But if I just hit close, just like that, I can now also close out of my companion or related policy screen because I'm done. Now I've just gone ahead and submitted that, a self-cert replants NOL, as well as for my companion policy. Now, if you want more information about companion policies, how they work, how you can hook them up in the system, I will be sending out one resource is going to be a link to our companion policy training suite. And so you can learn all about that if you need more information. Okay, next up, we are going to head into the NAU country, the agent portal. And I'm here now. I'm glad it didn't kick me out because sometimes it does that because I haven't been in there in a little while. So what I've already done though is I've logged into the agent portal and I did already select to go to My Farmers. So that's where we are. We're viewing that screen now. And now I'm going to submit an NOL for another one of my policyholders here. So if you want to handle it in the portal, if you're more comfortable here, very easy to do that. There is a couple ways, of course, you can get to the NOL screen here. You can, by the way, just start under the My Farmers drop-down menu, which you can find no matter where you have navigated to on the portal. It will always be up here at the top of the screen. You can choose loss notice and claims. This will pop up a screen where you can either type in a last name or business name, or if you want to look up a claim, you can put a claim number in, or if you need to submit a claim or an NOL, you can just put in also a policy number here too. And then when you search for it, it'll let you just select and go right basically into the claim and notice of loss screen. So that's kind of a quick way to do it. Or of course you can go the route that I'm going and you can first select your farmer, take a look at their policy information, and then maybe submit your NOL from there. So that's just another way to go. Another thing I want to point out here while we are looking at this screen is that when a policyholder of yours, and you'll see this on this screen as well as in mobile, for any of your farmers that are listed here, if there's a red flag that's highlighted next to their name, it means that they have an open claim already on their policy. So that's kind of a nice claim notice of loss kind of visual cue that you'll find. Now I actually need to go to my second page here and find this policy holder. I'm going to click on their name and it's going to be them that I am going to submit the notice for. And here we are. I am now inside of my policy information. Now I could click and view policy details, and from that screen, I could certainly go to the notice of loss screen. But on this view, over here on the right, there are these quick links, and two of them relate to claims and notices of loss. So the far one over to the right here, this one, if I click, will let me enter a loss. Or if I move one over, this will allow me to see claims information. So if there was already a claim out on this policy, I could click here, I could view it. From that screen, I could also submit a notice of loss. But if I just want to submit an NOL, I might as well just choose that quick link or that quick button. So I'll click on that icon and it's going to bring me here into the portal view to submit a notice of loss, which of course I'm going to be submitting the same information or very similar to what I would have submitted in EasyWriter Pro. It's just the screen is laid out a little bit differently. So that's why we always like to show all of the systems one example so that if you haven't seen it before, if you're always used to maybe submitting your NOLs in EasyWriter Pro, now you can kind of see the process here and know that it's just an easy option for you. So I'm going to start off here by choosing my notice type. And this time around, I am going to say that this is a prevent planting notice of loss. And let's see here. The county defaults for me. There's just one county on this policy, so there's just one option. Great. My crops are listed below here. I'm going to choose soybeans for this example. My cause this time, let's go with excess moisture. And then my intention, let's say, is to chop silage. And then my date of damage, again, I have to select. I'll just say yesterday. And then again, for this claim, I don't really need to submit anything in terms of the harvested information, but again, I could always type in additional remarks. And then when you're ready to go from this screen, you just click on Save Loss. Now, once it does that in the screen, look over to the right. You've got some information here in this summary box. From here, if I wanted to edit what I just submitted here before I guess before I officially submit the notice, I can click Edit. Or if I want to delete and start over, I could choose the delete option. Now I could also choose to add another crop to this notice of loss, or I could proceed to submission. Or again, here's another delete option. I'm going to proceed to submission. And I do have some questions here that I have to answer. So again, the first question asks about if the acreage is greater than 100 acres of the unit. I'm going to say no to this. And then we have a request to authorize question below, which is pretty lengthy, so I won't read it word for word, but do I agree to follow my insurance provider's written criteria and instructions to do this? I'm going to say yes to this, and I'm going to click proceed. And now I have my other screen where I can choose, elect if this is a simplified claim or a high dollar claim. No to both of those, which is the defaults. Double check the contact information. Again, I can change it here if I want to, along with phone number. I could choose to add an email address. I can see one's not listed here, so that's kind of a nice thing that you can do here on the portal is add an email. I, again, just going to review when I received the information, which again defaults to today, which is kind of nice. And then you do have to choose the time received. So let's say I received it in the PM, and then this time I received it over email, let's say. And now I'm going to submit my notice of loss. And again, I get the option to download my notice of loss right here from this screen. Again, you can do it later though if you would like. Click OK. All right, the next example that I am going to go through is on mobile. And in order to actually get on mobile, I actually need to jump behind the scenes here, get on my iPad, and also get that reflected onto my screen. So that always just takes a moment. So let me pause my screen real quick. All right, everyone, I'm going to reshare my screen now. All right, so you should be seeing my iPad kind of in the middle of the screen. And now we're just going to go over the NOL process here on mobile. So I've already logged in to NAU Country Mobile, and I did find my policy holder here, John Doe. Now you will see that John Doe already actually has an NOL or a claim out on his policy. You'll see that red flag here. Now, by the way, the red flags that you see in the system, once the claim is processed, then those red flags will drop away, so no longer be visible. But in this case, I want to submit another notice of loss. So I'm just going to go ahead and tap on my policyholder and come on in here. Now I do need to select the policy that the NOL relates to. So I'm going to tap on my 2022 policy. And then once I go into the right-hand panel, because I'm on my iPad, what you're looking for is the Actions section. Now, if I was on my phone, you would actually find an Actions option at the top of the screen that you could tap on that would show you all of your action options. But today, I'm going to scroll down, since I'm on my iPad, up, and I found that Actions section. Now, as I'm scrolling down, I want to point out that because there is a current claim on this policy, you'll see under the claims section here a number 1. So that's also a visual cue. And I could tap here to see claim information for that claim, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. What we need to do is submit one first for this example. So I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to tap here on Notice of Loss. And once I get into this screen, I need to just start with choosing my notice type. And again, I'm just going to choose Prevent Planting, and I'm going to choose my county, which will be Adair. And I'm going to be submitting here for corn today. And then I've got my top causes and my other causes. So that's kind of laid out a little bit different on mobile. I kind of like that. Kind of puts the top causes right up front for you, the most commonly selected ones. So I'm going to go ahead and choose cold, wet weather. And then I've got my intentions, which are also broken down to top intentions and then other intentions. So let's say that I am going to just destroy in this case. And then now I just need to choose my date of damage. So I'm going to tap on that calendar icon and I am going to choose today's date. And then I'm going to tap on proceed. And then now I just need to go ahead and put in any remarks that I would need to, that I'm interested in putting in. You just tap in there and your icon will come in and your my keyboard pops up for me. So I'll just say test. And then I'm just going to click on Save Loss or tap on Save Loss. And now I just need to verify that everything is okay. If I wanted to go ahead and tap back and fix anything, you can just tap these back buttons at the top of the panel. But I'm going to just go ahead and choose to proceed to submit. I could also add another crop or delete, but I'm going to proceed. So tap on that. I've got my questions here. So again, I am going to say no to the first one, yes to the second one, and tap proceed one more time. And now I just need to double check. Well, actually, there's a couple of cool things to point out here. First of all, you can add a photo. So that's a fun thing that you can do very easily on mobile. I would tap the little camera icon and I would either be able to upload a picture I've already taken, or I could actually take one and upload it on the spot. You can add remarks for your photos. In this case, though, I'm just going to double check the contact name, choose a phone number here. And then I will come on down here, choose my policyholder submit notice of loss. I have to choose that calendar icon that I'm hovering over, choose the date that I received it, and then AM or PM, and then how did I receive it? Tap there, let's say in person for this one, okay? And I will tap at the bottom there, submit notice of loss. And that may just take a second, but you should get the okay. And then you just tap that and you're all done. All right, so friendly reminder that your farmers also have the ability to submit their own NOLs here on mobile as well as in their portal, the farmer portal. So you might be thinking, how do I know when one of my farmers has done this if I'm not doing it on behalf of them? Well, that brings us to the next agenda item, and that is about claim mobile notifications and alerts that you can actually sign up for. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Oh, I tapped the wrong thing. Hold on. Stop sharing. There we go. And I am going to go back into my PowerPoint and I am going to walk us through some slides there. All right, so here we go. In terms of notifications that you can get on your mobile device that relate to claims, there are 3 types. So you can see them here on this screen. This is actually what the screen looks like on mobile to actually sign yourself up for them, which we'll talk through those steps in just a moment. But let's talk about these types first. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up, starting with the NOL added. So if you sign yourself up to get these notifications, you're going to receive a mobile notification when one of your policyholders has submitted a notice of loss. Or let's say maybe an NAU country employee has submitted them on their behalf. Regardless, you'll get a notification. And basically how these notifications work is that the system is going to look for a new, in this case, NOL submission each hour. And if one of your policyholders has had an NOL submitted in that time, you will then receive a notification on your mobile device about that NOL. The next notification type is the claim contact log added notification. For this one, what will happen is you'll receive a mobile notification when an adjuster has entered notes regarding contact made with a policyholder of yours that has a claim. So again, it's going to look for that sort of activity every hour. And then if one of your policyholders had details added or been contacted about a claim, you'll receive a notification about that. Last one is the indemnity paid notification, which I think pretty much sounds like what it is. You'll receive a notification if you elect to sign up for one when a policyholder's claim has been paid. So kind of nice to know that that has taken place, so you can always reach out with any other questions or say, hey, I saw that that claim was paid for you. Anything else I can help you with? Again, nice to always be kept in the loop. Now you might be wondering what these notifications look like. So let me go ahead and, well, first of all, I'm going to show you how to sign yourself up for these on mobile if you haven't already, and then what the notifications look like. So first and foremost, you have to log into the mobile app. Once you have logged in, at the top of the screen, whether you're on mobile or on your phone or on the iPad, towards the top of the screen, you should be able to find the ellipsis option or the dot, dot, dot option. Tap on that. That will bring you into a greater menu. At the bottom of the menu, tap on Settings. From there, you're going to want to tap on User Preferences. And with inside of User Preferences, you can then just tap on the button next to any of the notifications you would like to receive. When the slider bars are green, that means that you have signed yourself up for them. Now, at any point, you can come back in. You can deselect these if you decide later that you don't want to receive them anymore. But now let's take a look at what these look like. The first one we're going to take a look at is the notice of loss type and what that looks like. So if you, on your mobile devices, if you elect to have the notices come up on your lock screen, basically this is what that will look like for this type of notification, and it says a notice of loss has been submitted for one of your policyholders. Now you can either choose to swipe on this notification, or you could just go into the app. Once you do, if you swipe on it, it'll take you right in to the basic notice. But let's say that you don't. Let's say you're doing something else. You need to get into your phone. You don't have time to take a look at the app. Next time you go into the app, you will see a red number at the top of the screen on this little bell icon. That's a visual cue that you've had one of these notifications come in, and hopefully that will allow you to tap and go to the notification center, see basic information. So here you can see that a notice of loss was submitted, and it's going to give you the policyholder number. And then below there, you can see a notice of loss was submitted. If you actually tap into this basic information, then you'll get a little bit more information, including the claim number as well as the insured's name. So that's the notice of loss notification type. This next one is the adjuster call log notification, and you'll see here on your lock screen, it'll say adjuster had made contact with an insured on one policy. Now, the basic notification will say basically the same thing. And then if you tap on that, it'll take you in and actually show you the policy number, the claim number, and then the insured's name. And then next up, oh, sorry, I almost skipped by this one. The indemnity paid, option or notification will simply just say on your lock screen, an indemnity payment has been issued. Okay, once you go into the app, it's going to basically tell you that in the basic notification area, but once you tap on that, it's going to go ahead and also show you the insured's name, the policy number, as well as the policy type that that payment was made on. All right. And we are going to talk about our next topic, which is going to be about claim tracking. So in our systems, how can you get more information, beyond getting the basic notifications that we just went over. So it's great to get notified, but what if I need to know more information along the way? All right, there is ways that you can definitely see claim information in the system, and I'm going to show you a handful of those now. Starting off with going back into EasyWriter Pro. All right, so basically, one of the quickest ways to get claim information is to actually go to the policy itself. And I actually have a policy up ready for us to take a look at. So right here, I'm clicking into my Rachel Green policy. And now I could certainly choose to go over to the Claim Financial tab here. And here I could pull up the claim editor to get a lot of details. I could also get financial information here, but what I'm going to do related to my claim, again, there's a shortcut. So right here in the policy editor screen, you'll see the claim itself and the number. Now I can go ahead and click right on that. That's also going to pull up the claim editor for me. And inside of the claim editor, you've got plenty of information, but before I kind of point some of that out, I do just want to point out that you also can click here. It says NOL entry. It's a little deceiving of a title. By clicking this, this will allow you to actually download the NOL. So that's how easy it is to go ahead and see that and download it at any time that you would like to do that. All right, so first of all, and let's see here, there's also proof of loss too. So as things get processed, you can also download the proof of loss here right at the top of the screen. All right, here in the General tab, you can see just that. You can see loss entry, loss tracking, dates, and the initial NOL notes, which are also highlighted here for you. You also have your claim financial information. You've got payments and disbursements information here. Now, you also can click over to loss lines, which is great. This will literally show you the lines that are listed on the loss. And then you also have claim history, which is basically going to give you a play-by-play of how the loss sort of was transferred and worked through in our systems. So it lets you know, first of all, when the loss was entered along with the dates, then as it was passed off to adjusters, and then, worked into EasyWriter, EasyJuster Pro, returned to EasyJuster Pro. All of those steps are listed right here. And we come right down here to disbursement here for this particular claim. So yes, this claim has already been processed, which is kind of nice to show you start to finish sort of the information here in EasyWriter Pro. Next up on the portal, you also have availability to see great information. So I'm just going to click back over here to the portal. Oh, and I'm actually right where I need to be, which is great. I'll back up though and show you how you actually get here. So I'm just going to back up one step. So basically, to find claim information, again, you have a couple of options, everyone. So I'll show you one way here as soon as my screen refreshes, but then I'll show you actually a slightly quicker way, depending on, I guess, what you're doing in the portal. So if you've logged in and you just know you need to want to see claim information, you might not want to go where I've gone. So where I am right now is I went to My Farmers and then I searched for the policy, I clicked on the policy, and now I'm actually staring not only at my farmer, but in the actual policy that has the claim on it. So that's one way that you can go. And you would just click here, Loss Notice and Claims. Now, if I go back one more screen, which would just be the screen before it where I'm actually just viewing my farmer in general, there is also a quick button or a quick link that you can click to also see their claim information. And once the screen refreshes, or if it takes too long, I've got something else I can pivot to. Here we are. So again, I could click right here. This would also take me into my claim information. But if you are on the home page or anywhere and you're like, you know what? I just need to look up claim information. Again, go under My Farmers, choose Loss Notice and Claims. And then again, if you know the claim number, you can type it in. Or in my case, I just happen to know my policy number. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in. So we'll just look up the same claim that we basically, or the same policy that we just looked at in EASYwriter Pro. And now it's going to show me all the policies for this particular, over the years, I should say, for this same policy. I'm going to choose the 2022 policy because that's what the claim is under. And once we get in here, you'll be able to see general information about the claim, but then we can actually click deeper and we can see additional information. And the one reason why I really like to show claim information here in the portal is that the call log information I think is laid out really nicely here in the portal. So here you can see, yep, indeed, it's been processed. So we see the green line all the way across. We've got the general claim information here. And because this claim has been processed, you can see the total calculated indemnity will also be listed right here on this view. Now I'm going to click into claim details and view that information. There we go. All right, so again, I kind of like the layout of the screen because it just sort of shows you everything in one place. So you've got general information, which I always like to point out, this is where you can also click and download the notice of loss, or in this case, proof of loss as well for this claim. You've got your adjuster contact information. Under other information, you have sort of your basic, what information was submitted with the claim originally. In this case, because this claim's in process, we've got our payment and credit information listed, and then adjuster call log information here. Again, it's laid out just very nicely. Lets you know dates that adjusters reached out to the insured. Comments are included here, which is kind of nice. So again, in one place, you can really see how the claim was at least handled in terms of adjuster calls. So that's what you can see on the agent portal. Another place, by the way, that you can download the notice of loss here is you can also, by the way, go here under My Farmers. This is one other way that you can get to it, I should say, and under Documents and Forms. If you click here, type in your policy number or last name or business name of your policyholder, click Go. It's going to pull up all of their policy-specific documents that at least documents of record, and one of those should be, the proof of loss, or sorry, the notice of loss or the proof of loss, depending on where the claim is in the process. So that is how you can do that here. You, of course, also on mobile have the ability to also look up claim information. And to help me with that, I do just have a couple PowerPoint slides just so that we don't have to wait for me to show mobile again, since it takes a minute. Here, what you would need to do is log into mobile, find the policy. Actually, find the policyholder first, then tap on the policy. And then again, in the actions area, you will see a claims option. Now, if a claim is being processed, you'll see a number there, and you can tap there and see where it's at. Now, if the claim's already been processed, the number is actually going to drop away, but you still can, of course, tap into the claims area to see past information. So if I tap there, it will take me in, and on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see basic information about the policy, but it's going to show you on the right-hand side here all the basic claim information. And then if you tap here one more time, there's a little arrow. You tap there, it will give you greater information, including, oops, sorry, let me go back. I'm a little click happy today, including the adjuster call log information. And again, on mobile, it lays out each call or each point of contact very nicely and specifically. So I always like to show that. All right, so I'll get out of my PowerPoint again. And all right, let's talk real quick, a little plug I'm going to do here. I'm going to go actually out to our website, and I'm going to talk a bit about direct deposit. Because now, we've gone over the submission process, we've gone over the notification process and claims tracking. Now let's talk about how your insureds can get their indemnities paid quickly and easily. And one way to do that is really to elect direct deposit. So this might be something that you may already talk to your insureds about, but it certainly is an option that we here at NAU, we allow to happen, allow our insureds to sign up for direct deposit for their indemnity payments to get them quickest and fastest. So all they need to do is actually submit a form. And our direct deposit form is available on our website as well as in the agent portal. So you can download it for them, pass it off to them, and you can always just find it in either location by coming to the website, clicking here. This is our search option, and just typing in direct deposit or start to type it, and then you should find it pretty easily as a search option. And what you're looking for here is the ACH, oh, sorry, not the commission direct deposit. We're talking about indemnity. So ACH indemnity direct deposit form. I click there and I should be able to download this. And again, I could email it off to an insured, print it, hand deliver it to them if I'm seeing them in person. Easy to find it anytime and encourage them to fill out the form. It's one form. That's it. All they need to do is resubmit it to us. How they do that is all on the form, and they can go ahead and start getting their indemnity payments direct deposited to them. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is loss estimator tools. So I'm going to just go over some of these high level simply because time is of the essence and there is only so much time. So let me just see. Ah, good. I didn't get kicked out yet. This is actually a tips and tricks that will be getting sent out in the recap email. We have these loss estimator tools that allow you to forecast possible loss estimates for your farmers. So this tips and tricks goes over, there's 3 of them, and it goes over how you can locate these tools, how to use them. Sometimes you need to download something, sometimes you don't. So I'm going to high level walk through these and show you how you can locate them in the systems, but then again, direct you back to this tips and tricks for more information if you would like to explore it more later. So the first tool here is the Revenue Loss Estimator. And this is a report that you can download with an EasyWriter Pro, and I'll show you how to find it. But basically, it's going to allow you to determine if there is potential losses for your farmer while also reporting their production at the same time. So here's more information about how you find it, which I'm going to show you now, how to do that, and how it works, and then how you can print it and preview it, and then how you can store it later and actually make it a policy document as well. So let me go into EasyWriter Pro. That's what I'm looking for. And let's go back to the dashboard. And it's something under quick links that you can access. And it's right here. It's the Revenue Loss Estimator. And to start off with, you do just need to put in a policy number. So I'll do that quick just to show you kind of how to get started. Click Lookup. And then here, select, you can also do this by agency code. So if you want to do kind of your whole book of business or a whole book of business for an agency, you can. Then you want to select the policy you want to run this for. You've got some basic information over here. This policy doesn't have a ton in it, so it's not a ton to show. And then you just, in this case, I'm just going to click preview. And basically this is a form that then can be printed off. And then you can handwrite information in to basically sort of get those projections going for you and your policy holder. You can also commit this and then make it basically a policy of record, a document of record that would be available inside of the portal. So yeah, that's a great tool. So that's one that I wanted to point out. Let's go on down to the next one, the revenue loss trigger yield worksheet. So basically, this is similar to the last tool, the revenue loss estimator, but this also provides a revenue loss trigger. This will also allow you to quickly enter in data to determine when a loss will occur at a different coverage level. So it allows you to play around a little bit more. And so how this works is you go into the agent portal. So I'm just going to jump back in here, and under the resources drop-down menu, you choose revenue loss trigger yield worksheet. Now, when I click this, it's actually going to download an interactive Excel spreadsheet for me. Now, I've already downloaded it just to save us a little bit of time, and I'll pull this over into our view. Now, what I like about this is that it actually gives the instructions of how it works right here, and then you can save it and use it again and again and again if you would like to do that. So that's available for you to download again here in the agent portal. Last but not least is the price tracking and indemnity options. So this is something that allows, well, it's also in the portal, and it allows you to calculate estimated losses on individual units. This also can be done on mobile as well, and farmers can actually do this on the farmer portal. So this can be something that you can walk through in the agent portal for them, or you can walk them through in the farmer portal, and we've got the steps there of how you can help them find it in the farmer portal. But we also have the steps here for you to find it yourself in mobile as well as in the agent portal. Now, since I'm already logged into the agent portal, I'm going to just click back here and we'll just use this policy as an example. And again, I won't go into great detail, but if the portal isn't too slow, I'll show you at least how you can find this. You do just have to go down, of course, to the unit level to locate this tool. So it hides a little bit. And sometimes we hear, oh, I didn't realize this was here. But of course, some of you use it all the time. So here I'm inside of a policy. And again, I have to choose my coverage. And then the units are going to drop down for me here. And then it's here that you've got prices and indemnity. If I click that little plus sign, it allows me to come in here, and this isn't a great policy maybe at this point in time to use as an example, but this is where you can go ahead and type in your estimated harvest prices. You can also use the average yield, and then you could either choose an estimated yield or enter a custom yield, and then you can calculate and you can reset as many times as you like and kind of keep playing around here. Again, I'm just going to go back to the tips and tricks because it does really explain how things work and how you can locate them. And this, again, is something we'll send you out a link to this tips and tricks as well, so you can have time to explore these tools later on. All right, last but not least, well, there's two more things. I have a couple of reports I want to highlight for you, and then just again, circle back to some of those training resources we're going to send out later, and we will probably have a few minutes also to handle any other questions that may have come up that maybe we want to address here out loud at the end. All right, so I'm going to go back into EASYwriter Pro, and we are going to go into the Report Center. And there's two reports that I want to highlight. One is the customer contact details report. So, you know, when we went over, claims tracking information, and there is actually a report that you can pull to also see in report format when your policyholders have been contacted about a claim. And so I'm going to go here. This one is actually located under claims, and it's under adjuster. And then here it's called the customer contact details report. Now I've already ran it, but I'll double click on it. You can see that there are report parameters that you can put in. And I just whittled us down to a particular policy of mine, but you can have a much larger report if you want, and just run it by a line of business, by a claim manager or a claim supervisor. But you can see here now for this particular policy holder, I can now see, again, per claim, when they were contacted. And then a contact action is listed here too. And if any other specific notes were listed, they'd also be listed here. But again, this particular claim is kind of basic, but a little bit of information you can see here. The next report that I'm going to point out is our recent claim activities report. And so that is actually located underneath our agencies category and then subcategory claims right here. So the recent claims activity basically lets you see just that, essentially, recent claims. And in order to get it to pop up, which I've already ran it, but I wanted to show you the parameters. You can choose a date range. That's required. Additionally, if you want to put in an agency code, you can. And you can also include sub-agencies if you would like. And that's going to go ahead and pull up in that date range that you select your recent claims activity. So it's kind of nice in one place. You can see what's been going on for claims. And I just ran this just against our kind of practice agency that we have in the system. So I don't have a lot to show here, but nevertheless, it does give me the claims and the insured's names. Um, that's been happening in the date range I selected for the report. So that is there. And then last but not least, there's one other thing that I want to just point out. Actually, I can do this here just in the system. And that's not to ignore the claims quadrant. Here in the claims quadrant now, I again, I'm logged in under a practice agency of ours, so there's not a lot of claims information, but this would show you all your MPCI, hail, named peril, and other information about claims taken that have been submitted. It's interactive, so you can click on these numbers and get more information. Now I want to go to recent activity. This will indeed show you recent activity. So I do have a couple of claims here that have recently been submitted, and I could click and go into more detail here. So again, it's almost like running that recent activity report without actually having to go to the report center. And from here, if I wanted to double click, I could even get more claim information per claim. So keep drilling down, you'll get more details.
Say, Allie, this is Hope. Could I add just one additional comment here?
Yes, please.
Excellent. So just as an FYI with that recent activity report for both of these, really anytime a claim status changes, meaning a new claim is set up or maybe one has just moved to the field with the adjuster, or it's been paid, that's what triggers these policies or these claims to show up on the reports. So they're really great on if you want to know, I mean, it's the first thing you could look at the beginning of the day to see if anything recent has happened and you want to update your insured. It helps to provide that extra customer service. The only real difference between the two reports is the one in the dashboard is only going to look at the last 3 days of status changes. Whereas, as Allie showed you, the one in the report center will give you a date range. So if you want to look further back, you can. But these reports are really awesome, again, just for providing that extra customer service, because at all times, you will know if a status is changing on any claim. Thanks so much, Allie. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to add that piece.
No, I'm so glad that you did. And I was actually just going to pull up one last slide, just something to look at. Just resources that we're going to be providing in our recap email. And actually, there'll probably be some more that aren't even listed here. But while we're taking a look at this list, if there are any other questions or comments, Hope or Scott, that you would like to shout out, highlight any Q&A that's come in, anything at all, now's a great time to do so. If not, that's okay. And if not, that's fine too. I did see some Q&A come in through the chat, and I've been, I think, getting, it looks like great responses that I could see out of the corner of my eye. So thank you, Scott and Hope, for jumping in and answering those questions and jumping in and presenting with me today. If you have any further questions, don't forget, reach out to your marketing representative with those questions. And otherwise, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. And hope you have a great rest of your day, and see you on the next call. Bye for now.